Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is considering a military option to get the remaining hostages out of Gaza. This as Hamas releases a video over the weekend of hostage Evitar David, showing him to be emaciated and extremely thin. Thousands of Israelis taking to the streets this weekend to protest for a hostage and ceasefire deal after that video was released. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, sat down with his brother, David's brother, over the weekend. Here's that conversation.
How concerned are you about his physical as well as his mental well-being now?
We saw a human skeleton in this video, a human skeleton. So, as doctor says, Eviatar has few days to live.
Doctors have said this?
Yes, and we must bring him sufficient food, proper medical care as soon as possible to save his life. Because if not, he will die. But his spirit is not broken, because he's still alive and he still believes he's coming back home.
And you believe that?
I believe that. I miss his hug. Is the warmest hug and the biggest smile. I just need to hug him again.
Meanwhile, a humanitarian crisis is still unfolding in Gaza. 5 new deaths now due to malnutrition reported by the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry in just the last 24 hours. The IDF saying it has allowed 6 countries to conduct airdrops into Gaza today, with 120 air packages airdropped over the last few hours, again, according to Israel. We want to get to ABC's foreign correspondent, Marcus Moore, who's joining us from London. He's been following this story. And Marcus, describe first the situation in Gaza right now, the humanitarian situation on the ground there. What is being done to get more aid into that region, and is it enough?
Yeah, well, Jay, you've seen those pictures. The situation clearly remains dire, and as it stands right now, we have heard reports that some aid convoys that have been allowed to pass across the crossings there have been swarmed by people once they arrive in Gaza. So it remains dangerous and unstable on the ground. And then you also have the aid drops from the air, but even that has proven dangerous and deadly, Jay. There have been reports that a medic was killed yesterday when he was hit by one of those crates of aid being dropped. And, humanitarian groups have criticized that method because of the risk of injury and death. And at the same time, there have been more reports of people dying from malnutrition. In fact, since the beginning of May, around 130 people have died, and this includes dozens of children. And as I talk to you now, we know that more than 60,000 Palestinians have been killed in this war. Jay.
And Marcus, we know that House Speaker Mike Johnson is traveling in Israel, and U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff visited the region this weekend. He met with families of Israeli hostages, and he says that in his estimation, there is a, quote, plan to end the war and bring everyone home. Do we know anything about what that plan may entail? And what do we also know about what the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said about the potential military options to bring hostages home?
Well, in terms of the U.S. plan to end the war, we don't know the details at this point. But, Jay, as you well know, there has been back-channel communications, discussions, and those discussions continue. But both Witkoff and the Prime Minister Netanyahu have talked about, quote, alternative ways that they can bring the hostages back after the U.S. and Israel withdrew from ceasefire negotiations just last month. And they blame Hamas for that. But so far, they're offering no concrete alternatives. And at the same time, Jay, Prime Minister Netanyahu has doubled down on plans for a further military solution to the situation. And that's notable, particularly for the families of those remaining hostages. They have long believed that the best and really the only way to return their loved ones is through a negotiated deal. And consider this, Jay. Since October 7th, out of the 150 hostages who have been returned alive, only 8 have been rescued during a military operation. Families saying that at this stage, a military operation only puts their loved ones in greater danger.
Marcus Moore, my friend, thank you very much for your time.